name's Pete. I'm at Rimmer's Music, the piano people, and today I'm going to show you around and navigating the Nord Grand 2. So in this video, what I'd like to do is just run through the panel and show you exactly how this instrument works. Now, on the left-hand side, you start off with your master volume and a vibrato button. Now, we'll come to the vibrato when we go into the sample synth section, because it doesn't really apply to the piano. So the piano section here is your furthest on the left. So you have two dedicated engines here. Each is navigated. You can turn them on simply by pressing them both at the same time if you want both, or just turn one on at a time, hold them both down to turn them off. So selecting a voice is really straightforward. You can select your level using the LED, selecting the type of voice you want using piano select here. So there's a button which takes you through the 6 options, so from grands to claves to digital pianos, all of these different options then, and then so it will come up automatically with grand piano and the white grand. You can select which particular piano you'd like simply by using the jog dial. I really like the soft grand. Now, within here you have got keyboard touch options, so from light to heavy you can select on the fly how you want that keyboard to be behaving. There is also below the buttons soft release and string resonance. Now, to get these options that are actually below the buttons, you have to hold the shift button, which is located in the middle. So to turn on the string resonance or the soft release, simply hold shift, and then these options will change there for you. Now that's the case with any options below the button. Simply hold shift as you change that. Now you have got an octave shift, which is really handy live just to have it at the touch of a button. You can hold shift and control the sustain pedal and the volume pedal. You have also got dynamic compression on each individual channel here. So 1, 2 and 3, depending on how much of that compression you'd like to put on, and it really does even out the tone of your playing. Again, you can switch on and off the pedal noise, so if you want that damper resonance sound. You can change the timbre or the tone of that piano. So right now we're at a fairly bright sound. If you want to soften that off, again, if you want that mid, and onto bright. You have got unison options here, and that really does even out the whole sound. So unison off, unison on 1, to 3. Again, it's just balancing off the way that you're playing. That's the piano section. Now with this you do have the 2 engines, so to select both at the same time, simply hit both at the same time. To select your second voice, you're just choosing between them. For example, a DX sound here, which is a great combination. Very 80s ballad. And again, if you want to change that, use your wheel. If you want to change the levels, you simply just bring your levels to where you want them to be. Fantastic sound. And again, if you want to store that, you can. We simply go to the middle section, which is where you program everything. We'll come on to that in a little while. Onto the sample synths. Again, much like the piano section, the sample synth has 2 different engines. So to turn them on, what you're doing is pressing 1. You can change which sample you're selecting by going through the categories. So all of your synths, your strings, your pads, everything that you want is in there. So there's a category jog dial and a sample jog dial to run through different options. I'm going to show you the Mellotron, just as an example. Ooh. Now that's because I have split the keyboard. Silly me. So we all know that sound from the flute Mellotron. Lovely, amazing sound. And you can control the dynamics of this to balance it off again. So dynamic being off, dynamic control 1, 2, and 3. And again, that's controlling just how much of that you're putting into a mix. Again, bright and soft below, so bright, soft. You have got an octave shift. You can control the attack of the sound. You can control the amount of sustain, whether it's decaying or releasing, and the time it takes to do that. Now, the vibrato is really handy on something like recorder mellotron, which doesn't have any natural vibrato. So what we can do is we can turn it off, we can turn it on, so it can be always on. We can have it delayed. There, it's coming in there. You can control it so that you're in control using the foot pedal. So with your triple pedal, you can assign one of them to control the vibrato as well. But this button here on the left that we touched on at the beginning also gives you full control over the vibrato on the panel. And again, that's giving you a lot more live control of any articulation that you're using within these instruments. It's such a handy thing to have on the panel, dedicated, so that when you're playing live, you've got that option right there, touch of a button, really easy. You've got also mono, legato and glide options here. So if I select a synth lead of some kind, there you go. Now I'm not touching any of the effects, this is all just within the sample section here, so I can make that voice legato. It's basically a voice mode. So legato. Mono is you'll hear each individual note with a bit of attack on each. So completely different sound. Now, you've also got glide function here. Now that's got a little bit of slide in between each note. There's different rates. This is glide 2, glide 3, possibly overkill, but really handy with certain things that you might want to use. Throw in a bit of reverb on that and it's just a great thing to have. So that's your sample synth section. Again, if you want to have both layers playing at the same time, simply push both at the same time. Select your second and then you've got the option. On to the middle section of the keyboard. Now, the middle section is where you find all of your main menus and controls. So your main display is here. That's really useful. So within there, we'll start on the left. So you've got a full transpose. I'm going to put it on a piano sound again. It's a soft grand. Right. So within here, the transpose. So if I want to transpose that up and down, all we're doing is we're setting that. Now, to transpose up and down, you are holding button, using the jog dial here to go up and down. Really straightforward. Keyboard split. Now this is really handy if you've got two different voices going on at once. So the second, let's put a nice string sound. Let's go here. That's your Spitfire quintet. We've got a piano with it as well, and let's split the keyboard. So on one side we're going to have one side we can have the other. Now to do that, we need to determine where these instruments are playing. So underneath each of your engines, you've got a keyboard zone, whether it's playing in the bottom, the top, or both. At the moment, they're both set to both. So, which is great. So what I'd like to do is put the strings in the bass. So we hold shift, because it's underneath. We push it to low. The piano, I'd like to have on the top. So, great sound. Now, it's quite a distinct gap between the two. So if you want, you can also add a crossfade into there. So that will smoothen out the edges. So what we'll do is I'll play an octave here. And then if I add the crossfade 1, and what it's doing is it's balancing that out as you go through that section. Crossfade 2. So again, you can make that as big a section as you want. And that's a really useful tool to have, the crossfade, because if you want certain areas to be less just giving you more customization and more ability to tweak this live on the fly. It's a great thing to have. Now, crossfade, let's turn that off again. In the middle section here, you've also got your store button. So if you find a particular patch or combination that you like, simply push the red button and store it wherever you want it. You've got 432 program spaces. Nord have filled up quite conveniently a lot of these with presets that you can keep, that you can add to using the sound and the piano libraries, but it's really handy to have that much space. You have got live mode, so you can arrange your set list. If you're a live gigging musician and you're able to just literally go between program, depending where you are in certain songs, all the way through your set, it's really useful. You've got all of your main menus here, so everything from the system to the MIDI to the pedal options are all within this section here. And this also is where you have your program. So all of your presets are all just here. So this is how it's set up just now. It's between different categories and then different options. So A, B, C, and you can also go through different categories by holding shift and going through the banks here as well. So that runs through A, B, C, D, E, F much quicker than if you're just rolling through all of these options. Now that's a really handy thing to have. So last but very much not least is moving to the right hand side of the board where we have all of your effects options. Now this is where the Nord machines really do come into their own. Having these accessible live means that at the touch of a button you can tweak and change the sound entirely. It gives you so much more live control than most other instruments on the market. This particular one it's just incredibly well set out and focused. It's almost like a Stompbox guitar pedal chain. So you've got mod 1 and 2, your EQ, delay, global reverb, compression, and which type of amp you're running through. And again, you can turn them all on with the touch of a button. It's very straightforward to use. I'm going to pop it on to an electric piano sound just to give you a few examples. So mod 1 is where you'll find your tremolo, your pans, your spins, your wah. So the trem, on, off, on. Again, you can change the rate, so how much of that tremolo you'd like, and the amount within the mix. I tend to mid these off quite nicely because that's a nice level of tremolo. Again, turn it off. Really straightforward. Mod 2 is your phasers, your flanges, your chorus. You've also got vibe, which I just love. I think it's such a cool thing. So that's your standard. And it's almost spinning the pitch. So it's great for your kind of all that kind of neo soul, lo-fi kind of really kind of trip hop stuff. It's all using that sort of sound, and again, to have it live, touch of a button, it's on and it's off. It's a great thing to have. Moving on to EQ, you've got a 2-channel EQ, so bass and treble with a gain control and also a frequency scoop. Again, on, off. And I haven't actually touched on this here yet. This is your FX focus. So you can have dedicated effects for each individual engine. You can have them set for all, you can have them completely turned off. Again, all you're doing is controlling that via this button here. So it's really straightforward to use. You have got amp control here, so I'm going to put it on something like a whirly. There you go. Turn the amps on. G C. And then your small speaker amp as well. And control the amount of drive. Having that live there is really great. Full on compression there, so full compressor over the whole board or to each individual engine. Again, it's fantastic to use. The delay even, decay is over here. The delay, let's put that on an acoustic, because there's something very special about an acoustic piano with a huge big wash of delay. Now, I haven't actually touched on this as well. In the piano section, I'm just going to do this quickly, you can find out every bit of information about which voice you're using. So if you hold shift and push piano info, that's telling me that this particular piano, which is the Studio Grand 2, is in fact a Yamaha C7 version 2, and it tells you how much space it uses up. So this uses 80 meg. It's great. So just a little bit of information there. Bit too much decay. So delay even. Far too easy to get them mixed up. The tempo tap, so you can say exactly what speed you're running at. So about 550. How much feedback do you want? How long do you want it to go on for? Different filters there as well. We can up the dryness or the wetness as well. Sit and play with that for hours. Just a great thing to have. Again, you've got full control of that. New thing on the decay is the ping pong, which is really, really smart. So again, shift, tap the tempo, ping pong 1, ping pong 2. Lovely, lovely sound. Now, you've also got a new reverb in here as well. So, as with the old Grand where you had your room, your stage and hall, you've now got a great new cathedral reverb on here, which is just huge. And if I'm using a different grand piano, I'm going to select the white. It's a Steinway B, I think it is. Steinway B, yeah. Using 203 megabytes. Great to know. You can control huge reverb. You've got bright and dark, so bright. It's a really bright reverb with dark. It just hangs underneath the mix. You've got a chorale. Probably didn't push the wrong button there. Shift, chorale. It's fantastic. And then again, you're just simply turning it off there as well. So it's really, really easy to maneuver, easy to navigate around, to have different sections on at the same time, turn them off. Again, Nord's focus on this is to make this as accessible live as possible, so that you've got full control. And to anyone who's not played Nord before, this might look like an awful lot of buttons, but actually each one of them is so well set out to be sectioned in the way that it is, means that you've got full control live over exactly what you're doing. And once you've got everything preset, it is so easy to run through your programs. All of the presets are just there. So all you're doing is twirling between that knob. You can run through your programs there if you want to as well, but it's so straightforward. It is an amazing machine, the Grand 2. Have a look at our videos on the different presets and some of the new features, and I hope you've enjoyed. Please do have a look at the listing below. We've got a great price on them just now. So if you're thinking about a new Nord Grand 2, don't hesitate to get in touch with any questions. We'd be absolutely thrilled to sort this out for you. Have a great day.